Oh my god. Why were we shown the Pomni chamber, and what is this? Will the next episode of Digital Circus include a teaser including this shot? Hi to all of you. Additionally, the Glitch team promised to reveal what's inside the Pomni room in some extremely fascinating postings that they made on their social media sites just over 48 hours ago. However, if we look at the comments, you'll see that a lot of people have been anticipating a new episode or at least a new teaser. However, I'll attempt to explain in this video why this post is the most significant piece of info leading up to the upcoming episode, as well as when it will be broadcast. This incredible Pomni space has many mysteries that are worth discussing, so let's check around as much as we can. I want to start by talking about the mirror, which goes really nicely with the design of this vibrant space. You won't find a mirror in the Kaufmo room, if you recall. And I thought that was odd. In this room, however, there is nothing wrong with it. However, have you noticed that it's in an odd location? The mirror is typically positioned parallel to the wall or mounted on the wall. However, in the instance of our Pomni, it is positioned so that you can view the entire space from every viewpoint. Additionally, I believe that you can see yourself if you stand at the proper angle. But why is this being done? Do you recall the scene from the premiere episode where Pomni spotted the mirror while he was trying to escape the blocked Kaufmo? Recall the terror with which she regarded her own image. Even I felt a little uneasy when witnessing her insane appearance. Furthermore, Pomni's room mirror is probably positioned so she can always see herself and know where she is, and she would gradually become insane with these notions. What if Pomni made the conscious decision to investigate it? In that instance, she would become aware of her surroundings, which would also make her more insane every day. Or perhaps it was done purely for aesthetic sake. However, other from one detail, the mirror's reflection doesn't reveal anything noteworthy. I'm referring to the premiere episode's chandelier. I was unable to locate a single frame or scenario where this inside object was visible. What does that tell us, though? Recall how Kane demonstrated that the sun and moon are there in the digital circus. It implies that day and night exist. However, I was certain that such was also necessary for the huge top's illumination. It seems I was mistaken. The area of the digital circus tent is probably lit by some of the windows in the main chamber, but I failed to see any windows in the apartments of the characters, and Kaufmo room has no chandelier. Perhaps it vanishes the instant the character becomes an abstraction monster. Additionally, I wasn't positive that the characters were in a normal state of mind earlier. Is limited to entering the room while they are sleeping. However, as they are merely digital duplicates, they are not in need of sleep. However, let's approach the matter from the standpoint that, like us, they require rest. The chandeliers in each room may be programmed to turn off automatically at specific times during the night, but during the day, when the characters are just hanging around or going about their own business, the chandeliers are always on, and you may just observe them. It's exquisitely done and incredibly detailed. And the candlelight illumination only heightens my admiration for this incredible piece of art. It's also possible that you observed an odd cube with just the letter B on it. The letter is only on one of the 6 sides, so if you look closely you will realize that it is most definitely not a coincidence. And a lot of Twitter users have already lost their minds over this enigma. Let's talk about a few of the hypotheses that surround this enigmatic letter. Naturally, everyone is curious as to what it represents. It's interesting and enjoyable that one person joked that it stands for Bomni, but I'm convinced that this item actually belongs to another character, since if it were Pomni, we would have seen another letter as a point of reference. Only Bomni, out of all the characters we've seen so far, fits the owner's description. However, that was extremely odd, so it must belong to someone else. I'm 99% certain that one of these new characters will appear in the upcoming episode if none of the existing characters from the digital circus have names that begin with the letter B. Perhaps this stunning princess named Bella will be the one. Conversely, this toy used to belong to one of those characters that turned into an abstract monster. Perhaps it was Bobby, our beloved yellow dog. Another theory holds that Pomni is the owner of this toy, and that it is, in fact, the initial letter of her name, her genuine name, not the one she received in the circus. Although Kane is undoubtedly aware of every visitor to his virtual circus, why does he divulge each one of their names? Most likely, this is done to allow them to fully give up on their previous life and only be aware of who they are in the virtual circus. Furthermore, it's possible that Pomni is actually Bomni, and the author wasn't even kidding when he said it. There were also a lot of jokes about the Barcelona Football Club, of course. Additionally, I found another piece of evidence that lends credence to the hypothesis that this is a toy of a recently discovered figure. Examine the toys on the mirror's sides more closely. I'm sure a lot of you have noticed that the second pyramid is entirely destroyed while the first being completed. The pyramid will probably be destroyed if the new character is indeed there. I'll now go into detail on why. Take a look at Pomni. It's evident from her appearance alone that she is utterly hopeless and depressed. However, that is a topic for a later discussion. Furthermore, I have no doubt that she is too tired to play with much. What would happen if a fresh character paid her a visit and they had a conversation? Other from the fact that Pomni has nothing left to play with. But perhaps a newcomer would bring her not just a kid's pyramid to play with, but also this enigmatic cube with an even more enigmatic inscription. That sounds like the truth, don't you think? Only a tiny portion of people have also observed one more peculiarity. Examine the wall itself after looking at your reflection in the mirror. Let's now descend a little farther and observe an odd object that is resting on the ground. The size of this object's contour is exactly the same as the many paintings that hang on the walls in the dorm scene, if you remember that one. I acknowledge that the hue is different. What if the painting depicting the fall is a representation of the Kaufman room? And does this indicate that her mind is beginning to go insane and that Pomni has already triggered an irreversible process? And is it possible that this will be shown in the upcoming episode? It's time to discuss the cutest thing that has been displayed. Of course, it also has to do with our incredible Pomni. However, it is evident from this image that the nominee is not in the best of health. Now, let's discuss the spoiler that appears in one of the new episode's pictures. This scene and our little teaser will introduce the upcoming episode. What if the second episode is where all of these things happen? Pomni was sleeping soundly in her bed when we first met her, and then there was the instant she woke up. Furthermore, no one needs to wake up to an alarm clock or rush someplace if it's a digital circus. This implies that each character has a restful night's sleep and wakes up feeling like themselves. When you wake up, you'll feel amazing, even if your day is going to be a complete disaster. However, this is a very different image than when the day first started. Her entire appearance betrays Pomni, as she appears to be in a state of flux on the verge of losing her mind. Furthermore, these snippets are undoubtedly from the first 12 to 16 minutes of the new episode, which implies that someone has already succeeded in manipulating Pomni's mental state to the point where she feels awful simply by gazing at her room. And this image of Pomni's room was the last, but definitely not the last spoiler. If the artist had simply shared this picture on social media, I wouldn't be so certain, but something more transpired in this case. We were given an assignment with a reward. What matters most, though, is that Glitch examined our fascination with the virtual circus in this manner. That's all there is to it. Remember the feedback. I hope everyone has success and good fortune, and I'll see you soon in the upcoming videos.